This summer, my family and I finally figured out how to have too much vacation.
Welcome to the Mind Money Spectrum podcast, where your hosts, Aaron Ogti and Trishul Patel, go beyond traditional finance questions to help you explore how to use your money to achieve the freedom you want in life.
Hi, my name is Aaron Ogti. I'm a financial advisor in the Bay Area. I'm here with Trishul Patel, a wealth manager on the East Coast.
Hey, Aaron, great to be here today. Thanks, everybody, for listening and watching episode number 153.
That's right. We're going to do multiples of 51 instead of 10.
Right. We're starting a new thing. So that's actually for our listeners. We completely forgot to mention 150, which might have been something notable to mention. So 153 it is.
I'm actually curious. Did we mention 100? Because we're not surprised if we missed that by one or two.
We might have. I don't know. We haven't been too much on top of the actual episode numbers and giving notable mentions. So
okay, I think that's probably fits our lifestyle. Like we loved having the conversation just one at a time, and the number kind of doesn't matter to us.
Yeah. So I guess 306 we'll give some sort of honorable mention.
I don't want to make promises we can't keep.
That's a good point.
Okay, so this summer, my family and I finally figured out how to have too much vacation, and I wanted to talk about my family's experience and like how it fits in with our lifestyle. So, I acknowledge there is a Berenstein Bears book also titled Too Much Vacation. That one is just everything goes wrong. And so it's not quite like that. But I'm going to try to set the context to help you and all of our listeners figure out kind of how I got to this conclusion. Because our intention was not to have too much. But our oldest daughter is going into high school. And so one of the things that has kind of stuck with my wife and I is how many more summers we have with the whole family in the house. So we've been trying to have a bigger trip each summer. Last year we went to Edinburgh, York, Oxford, London, had a great time, especially York. Highly recommend York. This summer we did Chicago, New York, and Philadelphia, kind of three big cities on the East Coast. And a big part of what we look for is because my wife gets motion sick, she flies out. We try and fly direct whenever possible, and it's hard to do like day trips. It's hard to do an hour drive out to something and an hour drive back. In fact, even too much public transportation getting around can be hard. So we tend to find a city where we will walk everywhere. So this year in Chicago, New York, and Philadelphia, we actually walked total of 130 miles as a family.
Whoa, look at that.
So this is like she finds an Airbnb in the middle of the city, and one day we go this direction and do all the stuff over there. Next day we go the other direction, do all the stuff over there, and we're walking all day long. But that's our family can handle it. We love it. We're very happy with that.
Yeah.
One small detail that I don't know if it comes into it later, but I'll let you know. We happened to be in New York when they set the record for the hottest day in the history of New York in the month of June.
Oh, when was that? Because I felt like I might have been there that day.
Really?
Yeah, because it was very hot.
It got over 100. It might have reached like 104, but it was easily over 100.
I should probably pull up a calendar or something, because I remember telling my wife, like, because we're from Florida, we're like, this has to be hotter than Florida.
Okay.
There was no wind, and the asphalt was literally sizzling.
Yes. But I think from a heat perspective, we hydrated well. We have like portable fans that the kids, my wife carry. Especially in New York, there's like a street vendor every block, so we're buying Gatorades every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's all cold. So we did a pretty good job of hydrating. And I don't think it was the heat as a factor of the story, but that gives
Okay.
you some time frame. We also spend a week in Tahoe every summer, and my wife's been doing this every day, every summer of her life. She's passed it on to our kids, and so we had this also planned.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife plans now. Actually, my oldest daughter is also helping at least 6 months in advance. So we
Oh.
knew about these trips and a lot of them. One of the things that we did kind of make adjustments. I grew up in San Diego. I'm a big Padres fan, and we were looking at like Chicago, Philadelphia, New York. But as we looked at the baseball schedule, if we switched New York and Philly and made Philly our last trip, we could actually see the Padres in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of added that. That ended up being our last full day in Philadelphia, was seeing the Padres play the Phillies, and then we flew home the next day.
Okay.
I think we
Now,
got
what was that end to end? How long was that?
18
Approximately.
days.
Okay, that's solid chunk.
Let's see. I was not. Yeah, I think it was 19 days. Let's see. 19 days. Yep, 19 days.
Wow.
When we fly out midday on a Friday, we flew back on a Wednesday. So we actually got back July 2nd. We had the 4th of July holiday that Friday, in part because of other stuff going on in our town. The local fireworks were canceled, mostly like renovations and stuff. Like just the place they do it is not feasible. So we didn't actually go out to see fireworks on 4th of July, but we were actually fine with that.
Okay.
We have our week in Tahoe scheduled, and then this spring, a bunch of college friends and their families were trying to figure out how we can get together. We wanted to try and do a long weekend, like 4 days. One of our friends in Orange County offered to host, and this kind of worked out pretty well. So we added that. It ended up being in between our trip to the East Coast and our trip to Tahoe. And when we started looking at flying down to Orange County, my middle daughter had a camp schedule, like already scheduled. So I flew down on Thursday with 2 kids, and my wife flew down on Friday evening with our middle daughter. And we were looking at flights coming back on Sunday from Orange County, and they were a little more expensive. And my wife actually figured out it was cheaper if we rented a car, drove down to San Diego. It's a little more than an hour drive.
Yeah.
And flew back on Wednesday. That's just the difference between flying back from Orange County on a Sunday versus flying back from San Diego on a Wednesday. And we have friends in San Diego. Probably because I grew up there, we used to live there, so it wasn't going to add anything to like the hotel stays. And then, coincidentally, like, oh, we can go down on Sunday and see a Padres game.
Hey.
And it ended up being they're hosting the Phillies.
Oh wow! Look at that.
So we actually saw Padres at Phillies, and then like a month later, Phillies at Padres.
Wait, is this a separate series?
Yeah, okay. Separate series.
Yeah. Okay, look at that. And now, now you're in like the middle of July, I guess.
Yeah, about then.
Okay.
And so we stayed with some friends, flew back on the Wednesday, and then we had our drive up to Tahoe on Saturday. So we were home for 2 days. And even before we got to Tahoe, and we had planned all the flights, all the trips. Again, the 2 big trips were planned pretty far in advance, and then even the trip to Southern California was planned like 3 months in advance. As we were kind of in Philadelphia for that last trip, we noticed that we were, I don't want to say getting tired, because it wasn't a physical exhaustion, but it felt like we were stretching it out, just waiting for the Padres games and our flights to come back.
Yeah.
Um, where we missed sleeping in our own beds. We
Yeah.
missed walking our dog. It's like even though we're walking a ton,
Yeah.
the walk on vacation for us is more sightseeing related. Like we're
Yeah.
going someplace, going to see something, and we're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the walk that we do with the dog, and my wife and I have been able to do this at least 5 evenings a week, if not 6 or 7, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
We're walking the dog together, just the two of us, and it's a 50 to 55-minute walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we love that.
Yeah.
Our kids are old enough where we can leave them at home and they're not going to burn down the house. We'll kind of figure out what we're going to do for dinner during that walk. We kind of talk about our day, talk about other things that are going on.
Mm.
And we missed that part
Yeah.
because we didn't have any time without the kids there. And so it changes our conversation. And
Yeah.
being 3 kids, they're asking so many questions. You're getting 3 questions every 15 seconds about anything that we're seeing and walking through. And so we're just kind of talking, like, again, we love them. We love teaching them. So, but it was exhausting in a different way that our regular routine wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
And we missed that. We missed kind of our own beds, being able to wake up, maybe take some time in the morning. We're not always, like, we usually, especially during the summer, we'll try and take the kids to the driving range to practice golf. So we're not necessarily sleeping more or less. We do a pretty good job of getting back sleeping, both on vacation and at home.
Yeah.
And I we're definitely walking more while on vacation, but it did feel towards the end like we were just kind of waiting around, filling our days until we got to go to the Padres and then fly home.
Yeah. Were you eating out a lot, or you said Airbnb? Were you mostly cooking?
We were mostly eating out, but
Okay.
in general, we try to be cognizant that we're not sitting down at a restaurant 3 meals a day. We are likely having 1 or 2 sit-down meals, but the other time we're just kind of like, we actually got a lot of fruit from fruit stands in all 3 cities. Like that's
Yeah.
just now like all over. You get mango and watermelon cups kind of thing.
Yeah.
We would stop at a grocery store and get fresh fruit. So we would do that a decent amount. So I don't think we are overeating from that perspective or eating unhealthy. But there are times, especially in New York, because of the heat, we find a
Yeah.
restaurant that had air conditioning just to kind of sit down and enjoy our meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it was, we noticed that in Philadelphia, first, we were kind of filling our last few days. Like we had things we had an itinerary of things to go see and do,
Yeah.
but it was one of those things of like, we loved the idea when we were planning our trip. We loved the idea of going to the Padres game. My wife, even though she's a Giants fan, she grew up in the Bay Area. She loves going to sporting events, and loves sitting at a baseball stadium and watching the game. So we were really looking forward to this. And in retrospect, we almost wish like the schedule didn't line up.
Yeah.
And we didn't
Yeah.
try to stretch out those extra couple days. It would have gone home 2-3 days early. And then
Right.
same thing with our trip to Southern California. Like, even though we got to see the Padres and we saved money on transportation, maybe we should have spent more on plane flights out of Orange County so that we have a full week before we're leaving again. And it was that idea of, at no point in our planning process did it feel like we were taking on too much. It felt like, oh, we're just going to add this little extra thing because it's going to be a fun thing. Like we generally had fun. We generally had a great time.
Yeah.
And then we had this other thing that actually both saves us money and adds a fun thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think so. I think it's the two factors I think that I'm thinking about. One, we generally love our lifestyle and routine that we have already established.
Mhm.
For us, vacation is not an escape.
Yeah.
Vacation is an opportunity to do something fun or cool or expose the kids to, like in New York, there's a statue called the dinosaur, and it's a pigeon that's like 20 feet tall.
Ah,
And it's really cool to go see that.
I haven't seen that. Where is that?
It's by Hudson Yards.
Okay.
There's like a newer mall there
Okay.
on the west side of Manhattan.
Oh, maybe I have seen that. Okay.
There's also
There's an outdoor playground around there.
I don't know the playground, but there's a High Line. I think High Line is like an old train track that they turned into a walking path, but it's an elevated train track.
Okay. Neat.
That goes, I don't know, 1 or 2 miles from like Hudson
Right.
Yards down to something else.
Mm-hmm.
I can pull up a map of New York, of Manhattan if we need to check, but it was really, it's one of those things, like, that's really cool to see in person. Like I'm
Yeah.
glad we did that.
Right.
And so our vacations are not an escape. I think
Yeah.
that's like one big, like, we love our routine and we're genuinely excited to get home and back to our regular routine. I think the sleeping in your own bed, having your own pillow is a phrase I might use, not into just like the physical aspect of our own bed, because we do appreciate
Mhm.
that, but that idea of being at home where you're comfortable
Yeah.
in a regular structure that you appreciate.
Hmm.
So that was, I think that was one of the, it was we probably stretched it out a little too long, and like vacation's not an escape, and then also we didn't plan on like how important downtime or recovery from the vacations are.
Yeah.
If that makes
Right.
sense. It's like
Yeah.
we there's a reason why your routine feels good.
Yeah. Right. I think that's kind of the key. It's doing things for you under the covers that may not be always visible, but the routine is there
Yeah.
for a reason.
And so next again, so it is, one, vacation's not an escape for us, and two, that idea of like that little stretch to do something extra, and
Mhm.
or like, especially in Southern California, like, oh, we can save money going to visit friends in San Diego, even
Yeah.
adding in the cost of the rental car.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we should have just gone home. Like we love our friends. We did have a good time,
Yeah.
but we were looking for things to do, because again, they also have
Mhm.
kids and they have a schedule.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's just kind of hanging out, playing games. Just it's another family we love talking to, so
Mhm.
it was not difficult for us to fill our day,
Yeah.
but it we should have been just a little more intentional,
Yeah.
where it's that combination, like, it's okay to spend the money to make your life easier. You don't always have to go with the cheapest thing. And also on the flip side, just because it might be easy to stretch and add on,
Yeah.
you don't need to.
Yeah. Yeah. But it seems like there's like a bit of fatigue that starts building up. You know, like if you work out too long, the lactic acid builds up after a while, and then it starts becoming a little uncomfortable. You know, not letting it, not giving it enough time to like drain out. Right, some rest from the buildup of vacation itis. like, or like, you know, too much chocolate cake, too
Yeah,
much
yeah, yeah.
dessert.
So I like the idea of trying to find an analogy, because neither is quite fit, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure why.
It reminds me of when I was a consultant, and the consultant week, if you're a traveling consultant, is you fly out on Sunday, you come back on Friday. And
Mhm.
on paper, it sounds great because you'll stay at a hotel, you'll get a per diem every day, you can
Mhm.
eat out all the time, literally.
Yeah.
And you never have to make your bed, right? Because somebody's going to make it for you. You can make a mess. But there's a reason why not everybody jumps on it. It can be a little too much after a while. It just it, a- after a while, it's just like too much chocolate cake in my mind. Like it's just you want your bread and butter, you want your routine, and the one you mentioned, like for me, when I travel, the bed is a big one. Frankly, I don't know if it's
You
as
know what?
big for you, but
That it probably was. I think my wife and I have a king size bed, and we like our
Mhm.
space, and
Yeah.
uh, uh, we it's hard to say because I'm pretty sure we slept pretty well. Like all the places we had air conditioning, and so
Mhm.
I think we slept pretty well. Especially because like we're actually physically tired, so it was easy to get in bed at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Um, so we were definitely sleeping enough hours, and I thought it was pretty good. But uh, it was not our own bed. It
Yeah.
was definitely not as restful as our own bed.
I don't know if you may have heard of this, but basically, the first night you end up in a new bed, your body needs to adjust a bit, and you likely will not sleep as well. Like your brain will be a little
Mm.
bit more active, and if you keep jumping every few days to a different new bed, your brain just resets, and it needs
Oh,
that
interesting.
adjustment period. And it can take a night or two just to not get back to your full baseline at home, but to something that's a little more manageable. That's something we've noticed on the road. And we take our sleep, or I take my sleep pretty seriously in terms of getting everything dialed in. So
Oh, we
at
definitely do.
home,
Like
yeah,
it's I might I might be getting the kids to sleep 10 plus hours, and I'm sleeping myself at least 9 on
yeah,
vacation.
right. So we got the hours lined up. We have the temperature controlled exactly throughout the
Yeah.
night. Like the thermostat knows what to do at each hour to make it nice. And for me, even my pillow, I have a Sopacawa pillow. The buckwheat pillow.
Mm.
And I've been using the same type of pillow for like 2 decades, and not having that on the road, I notice it.
Mm.
And I have a sensory blanket, if you've heard of those, and just all the other things.
Is
Like
that
the room is
the weighted blanket?
it's a weighted blanket,
Okay.
and the blackout curtains, and just all the things. I know I work quite well when all those are there, and it's a disruption not having all that. And again, it's not a major difference, each little thing, but when you combine it all, I think my body knows I put all those in place for a reason, and
Yeah.
they've all been helping me, you know, function pretty well. But I don't get all that when I'm on the road.
So, as I kind of think about it, because one of the things I really was thinking about was the life planning exercise, your ideal day, ideal week, ideal year,
Right.
where I, it's possible we stretch that too much.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. So I love that exercise because thinking in those time frames is really important.
Mhm.
Where if we're gonna walk 10 miles in a day, which happened quite a bit,
Yeah.
like yes, that's a great single day.
Yeah.
You could even do it multiple days in a week,
Yeah.
and we did. But your ideal week, you
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily plan out walking 10 miles every single day.
Hey,
Eh,
I'm remembering that conversation we had. That's why I'm like chuckling a little bit, because I recall your ideal day and my ideal day, and your ideal week and my ideal week. If you take us back a little
Yeah.
bit, in memory lane. So I remember our ideal days were kind of similar. It was like our daily routine, roughly.
Hmm.
But now that I recall, my ideal week was like more of a variation of my ideal day. Just
Yeah.
perpetual. Do you remember what your ideal week was?
I remember I had softball on Thursdays, probably taking the kids to food truck Wednesday nights. I had probably golf one day a week. Uh, I'm guessing those were the things. Like, what are you chuckling at now?
But my recollection was a little different. I think your ideal week was you were remembering how you and your wife used to take a week off and go a play, like go to a different destination, just you
Yeah.
two.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Uh, okay. So the two things that are coming to mind is like one could be it actually was physical fatigue that
Yeah.
that we didn't really notice. That
Yeah.
kind of like snuck in. So we were sleeping enough, we were eating enough, we were like we didn't gain. I don't think we gained weight, but like we were staying pretty healthy. Um, but we were keeping up. Like maybe the heat could have been in part of it, but I think we're staying hydrated pretty well. But again, that's like on a single day we were fine. But
Yeah.
you do that for 3+ weeks and it starts to get hard.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the fatigue notion, right?
so that's possible. The other
Yeah.
one might just be we're with our kids 24 hours a day for 3 straight weeks,
Yeah.
and they just have a lot of questions and like just the mental load on us of trying to keep them engaged with and like just the constant mental stimuli,
Yeah.
both like the city as we're navigating, we're looking at stuff, we're okay, we go over here. Like my wife does a pretty good job of uh not over scheduling where we have to leave something to get over here by a certain time. She's pretty good about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Um it's more like, okay, here's our day, here's the 3 to 4 things we're going to see in this area.
Yeah.
Maybe one thing has a time, but the
Yeah.
others don't.
Right.
So maybe like between kids and doing stuff, just like brains got tired.
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit on the point I was going to mention as well. Because again, when you had mentioned that ideal week from that previous episode, you didn't have the kids in the picture for that. It was just you and your wife when
Yeah,
you
that's
used to take
I
a
do love
week off.
I do love like I think it might have been because we went to um a friend's wedding in Hawaii and we went
Yeah,
out a week early, just
yeah,
my wife and I. So the kids stayed at home with grandparents
right.
and we had an awesome time.
But my latter point is also though just it could have been just too much, right? The fatigue of too much chocolate cake, right? Like I think uh with the kids the intention is certainly sensible because I understand where you're coming from. You had mentioned your youngest was just entering high school, and that
The
that not that
oldest, yeah, yeah,
oldest, sorry, was
yeah,
just entering high school, and that stood out to me because I remember hearing something quite recently. Like by the time a kid turns 14, you may have heard this. You've already spent 75% of the time that you'll ever
yeah,
spend with that kid for the rest of their lives, right?
yeah.
And then by the time they graduate high school, that's 90%. So,
So quick like uh life caveat that my wife and I are betting on.
yeah.
One exception was if they play golf and you play
Okay.
golf together as adults.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're trying to get our kids to be good enough to go out and play golf with us as adults. Don't have to be like play in college or try and be pro, just good
Yeah.
enough to go out and have fun with us as adults.
Mm, that's a good one. Yeah.
But sorry, go on.
Well, so I think the notion though is even then, so even if you live in the same town and things like that, these times are numbered, right? And these core
Mm.
memories are the things that are going to stick around. But at the same time, with everything else, there's a balance. So anything can be too
Oh, man.
much.
So right now, I'm thinking like, because yes, we're very cognizant of that, and like this is why we did all this.
Yeah.
Would I go back and change anything? I had not actually considered that.
It's a good question. Or what would you do differently? Next year, next summer.
Well, I think next summer we're gonna go to Europe again. So the Padres aren't playing in Europe.
No need to. Well, whatever the local soccer team, football
Yeah.
team. Sorry.
So if we had not gone to Padres at Phillies, we probably would have flown out 2 days early. Same thing with like visiting our friends in San Diego. And actually, just the other day, we went to go see the Padres at Giants. So, because we're back in the Bay Area, so my wife and my middle daughter wore all their Giants gear, and I wore all my Padres stuff with my oldest daughter and my son. So I've gotten them to be Padres fans, despite not being the local team.
Yeah.
Would I have changed anything? I guess maybe. So I think part of like the Padres game in Philadelphia, even though it was a night game, the temperature was in the mid to high 80s. I think that's probably another thing. Because we're on the West Coast, we don't appreciate like the heat and humidity in the summer.
Yeah, right.
And just sitting at the game was less enjoyable.
Did you bring the portable fans?
I have a neck fan that I mostly let my son use. My 2 daughters, my wife, I think I might make it my like client gift this year. They have a little thing this big, and it's a rechargeable. It opens up into a rotating fan.
Yeah.
And
you need one fan per person per capita.
Yes. Yeah. So we're at 3 of those right now. The neck fan is a little bigger, but you don't have to hold it. My son used that mostly, and I always have a cooling rag, like just like a wet rag that you get wet and you put it on your neck. I really like that, but my wife and the kids and the daughters loved those little fans, so they had that on the whole time.
Yeah, right.
But so like, can you predict the weather 6 months in advance? Like, it's East Coast in June.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. We can't predict 100 degrees, but it's still gonna be hot and muggy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that you're going to be traveling to all these different places, you won't know, or you can't plan perfectly, right? That's what vacation's about. Like aiming and getting about 80% right, and knowing 20% is just going to be on the fly.
I did remember in New York, I was looking up the longitude of different cities in Europe. Or no, latitude. Latitude,
right.
Yeah, how far north? Like, which cities in Europe are farther north than New York?
Right.
It's like I remember thinking like, oh, it is so high. I don't want to do this again next year. I want to go play someplace not 100.
So now I got to know, where does New York line up with?
Middle of France-ish. I think London was farther north. Paris would have been close, maybe a little farther south. But I think it was between London and Paris.
Okay.
So it's like all of Scandinavia is gonna be farther north. Parts of Germany. You get Ireland. Because we had done Edinburgh, so I don't think we're gonna try and do more Scotland. Those are some of the things I was looking at.
Or you could go to South America. Just get the
Uh,
winter.
that's possible.
Yeah.
Well, because I think there isn't as much in South America that appeals to us. In part
Mm.
because we try to walk everywhere. We tend to want like direct, because my wife's motion sickness, want direct flights to a
Yeah.
city that we can spend the entire week just walking.
Hmm.
And so you end up getting really old cities.
Yeah.
And
European
so
cities are good for that.
yeah, that
Yeah.
tends to be what we try and target.
Hmm.
So I'm curious for you, as I've taught, like when you think about your routine or vacation. I know your daughter's in second grade now.
Yep.
Okay, so the age is different, and I know the age of the kids matters. Is there a time where you've felt that you've taken too much vacation, or you wish you had taken more?
Yeah, I've related some of this over the episodes. Like, uh, in the way beginning, when I left the career, we decided to basically be on permanent vacation and travel around. We rented a house here in West Palm and got a small place on the west coast of Florida, and then we decided to do like RVs and trips and stuff like that. And we learned after a few months it's really really hard. And at the time my daughter was a newborn, and
Yeah.
that's not ideal, right? Just having a very small kid, and you're
Was she
doing
under
like
one in the RV?
yeah, she was, yeah.
Okay.
Eh,
Did you also have an address, or did you only have the RV?
No, so we had a small place that we rented um on the west coast of Florida, as it was like a 2-bedroom,
Okay.
um whatever, in a multiplex type of thing. And that was the home base, but then we just put all our stuff there and then started traveling around. We did like, international flights and stuff like that, and domestic traveling.
Okay.
And yeah, we learned it's not so easy, even though for us it was just one kid. But
Mhm.
even then, all of us realized routine is quite helpful. And going into that, I had never taken a long vacation in my like whole life,
Okay.
and unless I was like, since I was like a little kid, I guess, but certainly not my adult life. So we quickly learned, and then we forgot again. We learned. So I think now we realize we like being home, so we might only do it a week or two away, and then come back and reset, and then consider that again. But at the same time, we're also big on the notion of well, this was a little bit by force. My wife didn't have a passport for a few years, so
Oh,
it was just up in the air. We were working on getting her citizenship all ironed out, which she finally got like a month or two ago. And now we have her passport again,
okay.
US passport. So, yeah, basically over that time, it was um, a lot more domestic stuff. And we realized there's actually a lot to do in Florida as well.
Yeah.
We don't need to make the crazy trips. So we're a little spoiled here. There's a lot going on in the whole state.
Mhm.
You can get the water stuff, you can get the adventure stuff, you can do the climbing stuff, you can do the the outdoor, indoor, whatever, and you can get all the foods right from all over the planet
Yeah.
at this point. So yeah, less directional movement is more in
Okay.
some respects. It was interesting. I remember like 15, 20 years ago, if you really wanted a good type of X food, you would have to maybe go to New York or go to that actual country,
Yeah.
right? But I don't know if that's the case anymore. Like, you can get pretty much good food from all 150 countries if you really looked around, within your given. I don't know if it's true for every state, but I'd imagine it's similar in Cali as well.
Uh, I think it's probably the comic's probably 20 years old. I remember seeing like if you live in like if you live on the coast, you can go find a Thai food, Chinese food, Japanese. There's a place nearby is Burmese food,
Yeah,
and even the Japanese, there'll be a sushi, and then there'll be a hibachi. It's like you find
sure.
specific restaurants of different styles. But if
Hmm.
you're in a flyover state, you go get Asian food all at the same
Ah,
restaurant.
okay,
Again,
sure.
it is a comic. It was 20 years old probably.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
so I don't know. I'm guessing that has changed. But I do think that
Yeah.
uh, like immigration and like size of population matter. So like
Hmm.
if you have people from that country in that city, then yes, you probably have pretty good food from that country.
Yeah, and maybe Florida seems to be pretty diverse. New York, where I was
Yeah,
born, pretty diverse, and you have all these cultures all around you, and that
yeah,
they're bringing their own cuisine and their own environment, and like we noticed, for example, there was like this area that had a lot of Greek cuisine, like a little,
okay,
and we're like, okay, this actually feels like we were in parts of Europe,
okay.
and for us, we're like, okay, we can have a mini European vacation without making it too crazy. Yeah, and certainly, um, we could go there for the sites and all that, but that it's not a necessity at the moment for us either.
Mhm.
So,
Uh, just out of curiosity, when was the last time your family slept somewhere other than your home?
um, well, we got back a few weeks ago, I guess.
From where?
From we were we did New York, New Jersey, Connecticut on that trip.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So when you were in New York, was that vacation or was that work?
Well, okay, so for me, it's a little different. We have a virtual business, so I can be online anywhere we end up,
Mhm.
and the 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 business itself is part time, so I can schedule things accordingly. So it's
Okay,
never really a distinction for me.
okay. So
Yeah,
okay, so what, your whole family went to New York.
yeah,
Uh, okay.
yeah.
So why those locations?
This time just family. My parents are there, friends are there. That was more of it this time.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Say also New Jersey?
Same thing.
Okay.
Friends. Yeah,
Okay.
Connecticut friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I, one of the things that I have been thinking about, again, I think it's related to a lot of past conversations, like that idea of if you're working and pursuing fire
Hmm.
and the idea like, oh, once I have enough, I can stop working and I'll be like all vacation all the time.
Hmm.
You're pursuing the wrong thing. Would you agree with that?
You mean if that's the mentality going into fire?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like
yeah,
I'm going to uh scale back, save as much as possible,
yeah,
trying to get to a point where I'm financially dependent so I can be on vacation all the time.
yeah. Yeah, with caveats, I see where you're going with that. And I've been thinking about this lately, even with some of our conversations with like UBI, like what if nobody needs to work and they are
Yeah.
effectively on vacation? What would things look like? And, you know, f- for me at least, what it's turned into is I have my daily routine, right?
Mhm,
That I have engineered over, or transitioned to over these last 7 or so years
mhm,
of, leaving the career. And that routine has some component of my business, maybe a couple, 1 to 3 hours a day, something like that. But the rest of the time, you can call it vacation or whatever, but I'm doing what I want to do. Now, here's the caveat to that. a good amount of that time is kind of maintenance, right? Now, it's the maintenance I enjoy. Like, I'm doing my exercise, I'm keeping up with whatever needs to be done around the house. I'm cooking meals, right? And doing all these things. So even if the work dropped to zero, I wouldn't change too much in terms of what I'm doing right now. And I guess you could call it I'm in vacation mode all the time, but really I don't see it that way, because the way things kind of come out is, I think, even if we didn't have to work for a living, anybody, right? I think most of us would still spend most of our time making our own lives better, right? Somehow, and keeping up our own health and our own, physical and mental bodies, and whatever it happens to be. I think that takes a good amount of effort, even if the whole income notion is a non-issue.
I so I guess I had not thought about um uh would UBI lead to everyone being on vacation the whole time? But I see that the translation there. I guess, do you feel like you're on vacation, or is it just a well-designed life? Like, and
Yeah.
maybe this is just semantics of the nomenclature, but like, do you think about the idea of going on vacation separate from your regular life?
Well, I think where I came out on that ideal day, week, year conversation is, I think my ideal day is pretty close to my days at home where I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And my week is just an iteration of that. And my year is pretty much that, with some sprinkling of vacation, actual leaving home vacation tied into that. Now, here's the distinction. You know, I see the vacation as the chocolate cake, right? And I do realize they give me too much of that. So I don't desire it too often, but it's nice to have once in a while.
I Okay, so like putting together a couple of your observations on me, like that my ideal trip was like a week with my wife without kids kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's more because like I'd rather have more time with my kids than without.
Yeah.
But our 50-minute walk every afternoon together without kids, like,
Yeah.
is that like a 1 hour vacation every day?
Well, okay, so semantics, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I agree with that, but it's they feel
here,
like we're just walking and talking, like hanging out with each other. Yeah, that
here's how you can put it in, here's a ratio I've been thinking about. Happiness is like maximizing the ratio of doing the things you want to do over the things you don't want to do. Right?
hmm.
Or the things that you look forward to doing over the things that you want to avoid, right? There's some sort of ratio there, some sort of differential there that you want to consider. For example, there are parts of my job that I really do enjoy, and it would be on the numerator of that.
Yeah.
Like, I look forward to. And there are parts of my job that I don't. And then there's parts of my lifestyle that I look forward to, right? The exercise, the fresh air, the walking, and there's parts of my lifestyle that I don't, that look forward to that doctor visit or whatever it happens to be. And so,
So I think I disagree,
okay.
because I think a well-lived life still needs some challenge. It still needs some things not going well. You need, I think so. I think the part of my premise is you need bad stuff to appreciate all the other good times, and it's almost like your denominator can't be zero.
Yes. Okay.
You,
Well, okay. So
In fact, I do think that there would be a diminishing return. Like I think if your things that you're avoiding or don't look forward to got too small,
Yeah.
then I think your happiness would actually come down.
It could. That's part of the ratio, the internal
So that's what
dynamics
you
of
mean
the
by
ratio.
optimization. Optimization is not simply like most happiness over
Yeah,
unhappiness kind of
see,
thing.
it's not that, because it's not happiness over whatever the antithesis of that, right?
Yeah.
It's the looking forward to aspect, right? You want the things that you enjoy more, right? And some of that is thinking of your future self, right? It's more about the wellness aspect, not the instant gratification. And it's realizing I don't want to necessarily um go to that doctor's visit. It's on the denominator, but if I avoid it too much, then it's going to affect my numerator, right?
Hmm. Uh, yeah, I think I see where you're trying to go,
Yeah.
but
It,
for
it,
me, it's the I don't know if I don't know if you can like I don't know if you can feel um that like the time going to the doctor is for your future self. I don't know if that translates into like every other vice that feels good
yeah.
that harms your future self. Like some of those are okay in moderation, and moderation is hard.
Yeah.
Uh, but avoiding those for also isn't kind of best for your life. It,
We got a few cans of worms that
yeah, it's okay. I think you need to work on your happiness ratio theory, but we can workshop that later.
yeah, this might be another one to consider in the tail end of a
It's because I do think like um I still like that ideal week. I agree. Things that you're looking forward to, I think, are a
Mhm.
huge part.
Yeah.
Uh, it would almost be like autonomy, like how much control of your time do you have? How close can you get to 100%?
Okay, that could be a better way. Yeah, things that you purposely choose to do rather than I hate to say have to, but
But it's like
maybe you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, like even like as long as I can choose to go to the doctor at a time that works well for me.
yeah,
Going to the doctor doesn't feel bad. I understand. Like, but if I had to go to the doctor at the same time I would something else I want to do, like, okay, now I don't like it. So like that kind of
yeah.
control of your schedule.
Yeah, or let me like cut to the chase. Like, for example, I can choose to work for myself and pick the projects I want to, or I
Mhm.
can work from an employer, but what if the employer keeps giving me things I don't want to do,
Yeah.
right? Like
Oh,
maybe that's a more black and white.
whole other conversation. I want to talk about like um uh thinking about potential careers for my kids. Like that's a whole separate conversation. Like
Okay,
maybe
well,
next time.
okay.
Um, but that I agree that because I think you and I are definitely on the like business owner side,
Mhm.
but I relate it more to we'll use desserts, just like um, desserts and exercise and saving versus spending and um, like trying to find that moderation of enjoying life, but not too much at the expense of your future self.
Are we just coming back to everything in moderation?
Yeah. Well, no, I think I still think autonomy and control of your own calendar.
Yeah,
Like you get to choose when you go to the doctor.
right.
Yeah, because oh man, okay, because I think a lot of like the stressful moments now,
Yeah.
are yesterday, like we got emails from all the schools, and there's a night coming up in a couple weeks that we have to be at 3 schools all at the same time for
Yeah.
like a back to school night, and like sports parents meeting or something like that. And like, cool. We got 3 kids. There's 2 of us. We can't be in 3 places at the same time, in 3 different places. Like that's just, that starts to add stress. And it's like, and the yeah, like when we lose control of the time, I think that's when
Yeah.
some of this, and sometimes it's okay if that, like, I'm going to choose to do nothing,
Yeah.
but it was my choice. And I don't mind going to the doctor, or I don't mind exercising instead of doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because I can see the benefit.
Maybe there's a better way to say this, but it seems like the numerator is the things that you want to do, and the denominator is the things that you don't want to do.
I would have said the things that you choose to do versus things that you that you have to do that someone else chose for you.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're way off track. I think it's a good conversation. Like, I think it does come back, like, design your life well.
Mm-hmm.
Design your life, like, choose what makes you happy and do those things. Don't feel like you are like grinding, looking forward to vacation is not as well lived as a structure that you enjoy in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, Aaron.
Okay. Well, we got to take some notes, but like, I think we have like our next 2 or 3 conversations planned out.
Sounds good. I enjoyed the conversation. Thanks everybody for listening and watching, and thanks, Aaron.
Bye.
Bye.
We appreciate you joining us today for this episode of the Mind Money Spectrum podcast. Be sure to visit mindmoneyspectrum.com to access the entire library of episodes. Remember, it's not black and white, but the wide spectrum of gray area where you get to pursue the freedoms you want in life. Opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested in directly. Have a nice day.